Yes, ma'am. We'll be starting in 5 minutes.
Okay, okay, sure.
Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting in around 5 minutes' time.
Atri, am I audible?
Yes, Maharaji. So we'll start now. A very good evening to everyone present here. Today, we, the members of Vivekananda Study Circle, present to you a very special talk on decision making, a Vedantic approach, which will be given by revered Swami Vedatitanandaji Maharaj, who is currently serving as the correspondent and in charge of Shilpa Mandir of Ramakrishna Mission Belur. I would humbly request our mentor, Professor Maithili ma'am, to welcome the Maharaj and address the audience here. I will be passing over to her.
Thanks, Autri. Namaste, Swamiji, and namaste, everyone. Good evening to you all. It is my pleasure to welcome Swami Vedatitananda ji to our talk on decision making, a Vedantic approach. So, Swamiji is a member of the Ramakrishna Mission Order of Monks. He has joined the order in 1999 and was a disciple of the famous Swami Ranganathananda ji. He currently serves at Ramakrishna Mission Shilpa Mandir at Belur Math. So, welcome to our talk, Swamiji. We are really grateful and honored that you could join us this evening. And so, this group, the Vivekananda Study Circle, is a group of students that has formed a year ago. And so, the students mainly get together to study the teachings of Swami Vivekananda and try to imbibe some ideas of practical Vedanta on their own and through talks by esteemed people like you. And this is a group of students mostly who are, as you know, at a critical juncture of life, career, what paths to take, what is right, what is wrong. I'm sure they must be having a lot of questions. And therefore, we thought that this talk is very apt, where you can sort of shed some light on some of these questions based on a Vedantic approach and have some advice for them. We really look forward to hearing your views on how Vedanta can help them. Thank you so much.
Do I start?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
Om
Please
Shri
start.
Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Very good evening to all of you here. Thank you for introducing me, Professor Maithili. I began with a prayer. This is a Vedantic prayer. It is there in the Upanishads. The reason why I began with this prayer is the meaning of this prayer is very interesting. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinav adhitamastu. Adhita mane reading, whatever studying, whatever discussion we have. So whatever it is that we discuss today, let it enrich us, let it nourish us, let it strengthen us. This is the idea of this prayer. Then there is a line in that. Ma vidvishavahai. So vidvesha is a Sanskrit word. Most Indian languages also use that word. So vidvesha basically means anger or what shall I say, putting somebody off. So I said something which may put you off. So that should not happen because when higher ideas are discussed, there is every possibility that the other person may feel disturbed. There are some belief systems they have, there are some lines of thought they have. So those things may get disrupted, and that should not happen. That is a prayer. So, having said that, so the topic for today's evening will be decision making, a Vedantic method or Vedantic approach. Now, I'm not very sure with what idea this topic was coined, but let me tell you this. Today in India, we suffer from a sort of a disease. What did I say? We suffer from a sort of a disease. That disease is that there is something called religion, there is something called religion, which can help us in our daily life. So this concept is very peculiar. So in some respects, of course I don't mean it completely, but in some respects I like the what do you call, the Christian idea or the Islamic idea, where religion is fixed to certain hours, certain. So for Christians it is Sunday. So Sunday will be religious. Rest of the days, 6 days, we can have relation with this world. For Muslims, it is 5 times, 5 minutes of 5 times every day. But rest of the time they can do whatever they want. There is no problem of. Whereas with rest of the Indians, the problem that happens to be is we face problems in this world and we look for solutions in religion. So this is a very, I don't know, it's a very peculiar phenomenon that is found in India. So I would like to clear that off first. What is it? So problems of this world have to be solved with ideas of this world only. Now, is there something? Is there actually a difference between religion and this world? Yes, there is very much a distinction. So, what is the distinction? So, the distinction is, studies have shown, our Vedantic studies have shown, that man exists in at least 3 different states of consciousness. So, this present state where I am awake, you are awake, this is not a dream. Okay, we are living in a very real world. So I am connected to all of you. I am taking a class. You will all listen and you will think on what I have said. So this is called the real world or the waking world, Jagrita. Then you have got dream. So after some time you will go to sleep. When you go to sleep, what happens is, so very seamlessly we shift our state of consciousness into dreaming. So dreaming, you see, you never start a dream. There's already something going on and you enter into it. So there's a quantum jump from this to that. So then, after some time of dreaming, you will enter into something called deep sleep, sushupti. So sushupti. So when you enter into deep sleep, that is another state of consciousness. You have absolutely no recollection what happened, how much time went. So when you wake up, that is when you realize, oh boy, I slept for 7 hours. I should have gotten up at 5 o'clock, like that. So you don't know what happened. So there is an absence of what do you call agency. हम जो सो रहे थे, that sense is not there. I have dissolved. Then I again come back. So when you come back again from deep sleep, you dream. That is why early mornings also you will get dreams. Late night also you will get dreams. Okay? So early morning you will dream again and then you will wake up. So when you wake up again, you enter into the world. This world was already existing. You entered. Where was I? God knows where was I. I was dreaming. Before that, I didn't even know what. So we recognize these 3 states of consciousness. These 3 states are independent of one another. Of course, there are many people who will say that what you think in your daily life, that is what happens in your waking life. That is what appears in dreams and stuff like that. There is, of course, a connection. But the rules of that world don't work here. So you've got a lot of irrationality in the dream world. Here, this world is quite rational. Cannot quite rational. See, supposing I scold one of you. Supposing I scold one of you. I berate you. I tell very bad words. So there is a consequence that I have to face in this world. If I do this in dream, what happens is, in fact, they say this. They say this. So during the day, supposing I had a very bad interaction with you, and I had to face a lot of irritation from you, lot of insult from you, and I couldn't pay back. I couldn't tell anything back. Maybe you are very big, you are very senior, you are much more important than me. So these kinds of inequalities, they won't allow you to talk back. If you pile that up, they say, in dream you will be bringing it up. So you will shout at him, you will insult him. Now, if you do that in dream, you have no consequences. So the rules by which that world operates are not the same as the rules by which this world operates. So these 3 things belong to us. There is a 4th state of consciousness. So that is called samadhi by Hindus. Muslims call it as fana. So all religions have got a name for that because all religions recognize another state of consciousness. So unless you enter into that state of consciousness, there is no religion. So rest all is as good as anything of this world. You can't say, so just because you go to a temple, of course, compared to so many other things, going to a temple is quite religious, no doubt about it. Or doing good deeds is religious. Okay, belief in God is religious. All those things. But real religion, if you talk of real religion, it has to start with samadhi. So rest everything is a preparation for that. So that is the reason I say these are two different things. Okay. There is a fifth state of consciousness that Hindus recognize, our Upanishads recognize, that is death. Death is a state of consciousness. Understand? So there are 5 states that we recognize, 3 of which we undergo on a daily basis in a cyclical order. So everybody has to be awake for some time, go into a dream for some time, go into deep sleep for some time, again start dreaming, then become awake, then go to dream. So dream happens twice. So if you consider these two as the extremes, what is it, waking and deep sleep? So any movement between these two is mediated through another state of consciousness called dream. So now thinking, decision making. Now decision making, our main issue is here in this world. So what are the decisions that we make? How do we make right decisions? There are many good books which have come out these days. I was telling Atri the other day. There is a book by a Nobel laureate called David Kahneman, Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman. It's called Thinking Fast and Slow. So he talks of book. Anyway, but I'll give you the Vedantic approach. You can read that book. That's a very good book. So Vedanta, however, deals only with religion. You must remember this. So the Vedanta will not deal with things of this world. So the rules by which this world operates, Vedanta leaves it alone. Then what does Vedanta contribute? So is really there something called a Vedantic approach to decision making or thinking? Yes, there is. So how Vedanta conceives of this is very interesting. We have a very, very old Upanishad. I hope you all know how many Upanishads are there. So there are basically 108 Upanishads. These are all our Bibles and our Qurans. It is our fundamental text, Upanishads. Out of these 108, about 11 are called very old and very important because they framed the Hindu religion. They framed Vedanta. Vedanta is founded on them. So one of them is called Isha Upanishad. Isha Upanishad. Isha Upanishad we call. So in the Isha Upanishad there is a mantra. It's a very interesting mantra. So the mantra says, Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritam ashnute. Very interesting. These are 2 words, vidya and avidya. So these are words we use today. This is also these are words which were used thousands of years ago when the Ishopanishad, nobody knows when it was created. But the language experts, etc., they say that it's one of the oldest Upanishads. There is another way of finding out which Upanishad is older than the others. What happens is in a particular Upanishad, there is reference to another Upanishad. So naturally, that one becomes older. You understand? So Ishopanishad is supposed to be a very, very old Upanishad. The language, it uses 2 words, Vidya and Avidya. आज भी हम लोग use करते हैं. Today also we use these 2 words. So ये अविद्या मार्ग में जा रहे हैं, अशिक्षित है. So like that. But those days, these 2 were technical terms. So there is a word called idiot. Idiot. Now idiot is actually a very old English word. They say, of course, there are other controversial ideas also. But one theory says that idiot is an English word, old English word, which actually meant a genius. Now, when we talk, we have this habit of talking sarcastically. तो बहुत बड़ा बृहस्पति है. So Brihaspati is supposed to be the god, the guru of the gods. So he must be very brilliant. So we use it in a very ironic or sarcastic manner. You understand? Brihaspati is an idiot, a stupid fellow. Idiot actually came like that. That word actually meant a genius. Then sarcastically people started using it. Oh, कौन है वो? He's an idiot. Mane is a stupid fellow. But the word, so over a period of time, the word changed meaning. These 2 words in the Ishopanishad, similarly, they changed their meaning. What are the words? Two things are there. That is what this mantra says. There is something called Vidya, there is something called Avidya. So now Vidya is something through which you can attain immortality. समझ रहे हैं ना? ये स्वर्ग नरक का बात नहीं है. Let me explain. Avidya is something through which you can go beyond pain and misery. Avidyaya mrityum tirtva, vidyaya amrutam ashnute. Amruta is immortality. Mrityu is anything which is painful, death, or misery, or sorrowful, or avoidable. You want to avoid those things because it is painful. So, avidyaya mrityum tirtva, vidyaya amrutam ashnute. What is the meaning of this? So, what they are telling is, the Upanishadic gurus say, there are two entirely distinct areas or universes where we can put our attention. So one is this entire world. See how vast this is. It's almost infinite. Nobody can find an end to this world. You can put your attention to this world. You can study it. Study brings knowledge. Knowledge brings control. It is possible. Then you have got an internal world. अंदर में भी कुछ है इधर. आप लोगों का एक-एक का अंदर में there is an infinite world. मेरा अंदर में भी. Now this world we share. ये वर्ल्ड हम शेयर कर रहे हैं. That is why you are able to see me. I will also be able to see you. है ना? We share this world. So I am in Belur Math. You people are in Bombay, or perhaps you are at home. Your chutti is going on. So now we share a world. Indigo का problem आपको भी है, हमारा भी है इधर. Because flights are not operating. I don't know those of you who have gone home, how you will go back to your colleges. I don't know. So this world is a commonly shared world, and it's infinite. The internal world again is infinite. There is no end. बहुत deep है हमारा internal world. But that seems to be private. There seems to be a privacy there. Because मेरा अंदर में क्या हो रहा है, you people will not know. तुम्हारा अंदर में क्या हो रहा है, हम समझ नहीं पाएंगे. Of course, if you use words, if you talk, if you explain, if you listen, then think. There is a possibility, but even then we are never sure that I have understood you completely. Things with this world is not like that. With this world, there is a possibility of having almost coincidental understanding. Take any physics law, for example. Take any physics law. Or take any natural happening. है ना? तुम जैसे अंडरस्टैंड करते हो, हम भी ऐसे अंडरस्टैंड करें. लेकिन अंदर की बात, the internal life of man, it is something very, very deep, unique, private, personal, hidden, you can say. So now the question is, man can give attention to the external world and to the internal world. If he gives attention to the external world, he will reap certain benefits. What are the benefits that we can get from studying the external world, outer world? So this world in which we exist. So if you understand this world properly, lot of pain can be removed. सोचिए फॉर एग्जांपल आज ठंडा है, आज बेलूर मठ में बहुत ठंडा है, 14 डिग्री चल रहा है, 15 डिग्री चल रहा है, 15 degrees uncomfortable. So since we are able to control this world, heater है पीछे में, feeling very comfortable. You understand? So any knowledge, any worthwhile knowledge of this world gives you control. It brings things under your control. You can put it to use, and thus pain while living can be, so life can be made easy, luxuries can be given, necessities can be fulfilled. That is the advantage of studying this world. What is the advantage of studying the internal world? You can become amrita. So you can understand that these three states of consciousness that I said, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, there's a secret behind that. There's actually no such movement. This thing can be understood only if you dive inside. So avidyaya mrutyum tirtva vidyaya amrutamashmute. Vedanta always emphasized that a man has to simultaneously give attention to two different worlds. What is that? The internal world and the external world. So now the thing is, these two worlds actually don't meet. They are completely different. आप जितने भी ये जगत के बारे में समझो ना, you try to go as deep as possible into this world, you will never understand what a man is. और अंदर में आप जितने भी अंदर में जाओ, so you may know yourself in toto. You may say, putting your hand here, I know myself fully. There is no doubt at all. I know who I am. You will never know anything about this world. So these are two very, see, because in this world you will find a phenomenon, you will find a very, very natural phenomenon. Supposing you develop expertise in one particular line of thought, one particular field or human endeavor, physics, for example. Supposing you become an expert in physics. So there is a huge chance, that you will be able to put that knowledge into direct application in, let us say, in, say, for example, sports. A person who knows physics, he will know how to bend the body before start to running. You understand? Because these things, there's a lot of connection there. Whereas anything that you learn in the outside world, it is not going to help you inside. Anything that you learn inside about your own existence, about your own mind, about the forces inside the human body, it will not help you outside. So these two things have been pursued simultaneously because they are one knowledge in one does not automatically give you knowledge about the other. So the third point, our ancient rishis, that is the Vedantics, they discovered how to think. And that principle of thinking is common, whether you study the internal world, that is religion, or the external world, that is the world. The principles of thought are same. So as far as this topic is concerned, I am going to concentrate on how to think as per the Vedantic rishis. So today we have a word for it. It's called rational thought. Whereas it is understood, it is believed that this rational thought was actually a contribution of India. Ancient Indians contributed how to think. So we gave it to all the other civilizations of the world. The discoverer is actually a person called Maharishi Kapila, Kapila Maharshi. So Kapila Maharshi, he founded a new school of philosophy, Indian philosophy, called Sankhya, Sankhya Darshana, Sankhya philosophy. So the word Sankhya actually means categorization. Categorization. Science also does the same thing. So before you study the world, you will have to categorize things. So forces, you have to categorize them. Matter has to be categorized. So that is why you have the periodic table. So then you have got combinations between them. So unless you categorize, you can't study. एक mass, एक mixed form में यदि रहेगा, what will you study? In order to study, you have to cut, and then isolate and then study it. Then you can come back to the other. Then you can come. So Sankhya, he was the one who found out rational thinking. So yukti, the Sanskrit word for this is yukti, thinking. Haphazard thinking, haphazard thinking and rational thinking are two different things. So haphazard thinking is coincidences. We believe in coincidences. We believe in magic. So that is where these religious people come in. You know, religion, common man's understanding of religion is magical. So there was a person, this fellow used to shout. Every day he would tell when he would pray. This is a Sufi story. Sufi, Musalman Sufi story this is. So he would say, Allah, मुझे 1 करोड़ रुपया दे, 1 करोड़ रुपया दे. हर दिन प्रार्थना करता था. Now what happened is, neighbors and all came to know that this fellow is asking God for money. We want to see how God is giving money. Then after some time, years passed, years. This fellow did not stop praying. इतना विश्वास है उसका. Then what happened is, एक दिन पे बहुत आसपास के लोग जितने भी they started making fun of him. अरे stupid fellow, दिया तेरा अल्लाह दिया, तेरे को पैसा दिया, कहाँ देगा? अब क्या हुआ? He was hurt. So one day he gave an ultimatum to Allah. आसपास के लोग भी सुन रहे हैं, इसका ऊपर नजर रखें. It's a very peculiar way, you see. So he says, Allah, I want 1 crore. I have faith in you. And tomorrow is the last day I'm going to ask you. समझ रहे हैं ना? तुम यदि नहीं दिया, हम कभी तेरे को प्रार्थना नहीं करेंगे, हम सारा जगत जान लेगा that you don't exist, that you don't answer prayers. नेक्स्ट डे प्रार्थना हुआ, फाइनल प्रेयर. अब क्या हुआ? एवरीबडी इज वाचिंग. ऊपर से कुछ गिरेगा क्या? कुछ नहीं हुआ. देन दिस फेलो's heart was broken, but he was sincere, you see. So he heard a voice. अशरीर वाणी बोलता है उसको, disembodied voice. It's a God's voice. God told him, bloody fool, purchase a lottery at least, man. एक lottery at least खरीद लो. See, the idea being, we don't know what other forces work in this world, but no matter what forces work, until we contribute, we have to contribute, man. Our effort is essential. So the moment our effort comes in, even if all the forces in the world have contributed to my success, this success becomes mine. This is the rule. This is rational thought. So rational thought का एक fundamental principle है, cause brings effect. क्या बोले हम? Cause brings effect, है ना? Cause brings effect is fine. Maybe prayer will bring money. Nah, the effect is actually the cause in another form. So it is my hard work that becomes money. समझ रहे ना? So किसी का कोई, so you know people who go to astrologers. I have nothing to say against astrology. जो believe करते हैं करने दो, हमारा कोई समस्या नहीं है उसमें. But I believe more in human endeavor. काम करो. You want money? Why go here and there? So एक बार क्या हुआ? 3 लोग थे. They were disciples of a particular guru, very powerful Swamiji, powerful man. वो स्वामी जी के पास, the 3 of them have taken mantra diksha. समझ रहे हैं? Now they are coming back from the guru's ashrama to their house. They had to cross a forest. अभी forest cross करते करते they came across a lion. Lion came in front of them, hungry lion. He killed them. So one of these fellows said, start chanting that mantra, because guru बोले थे, तेरा मुक्ति होने तक ये मंत्र तेरा help करेगा, they will protect you. So he said, let us chant the mantra, so we will get free from the trouble. The second man says, hey, mantra jap mat karo yaar, हमारा गुरु का स्मरण करो, think about the guru, because that we remain all right is his responsibility. समझ रहे ना? The third man gave a very interesting suggestion. Verse 9, yes, exactly, you're right. So verse 9, 10, so a couple of verses they deal with Vidya and Avidya. Then there is another set of verses which deals with Sambhuti and Asambhuti. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastatvedam. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So the third man gave a very interesting suggestion. What he says is, देखो मंत्र गुरु ये सब का बारे में फालतू में why do we waste time? यहाँ पे गाछ है, ट्री है, ट्री, तरुण क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में, क्या बोलते हैं मुझे मालूम नहीं. There is a tree here. Let us climb up the tree. Let us wait there for some time. This lion will move around for some time. It will get tired and it will go away and hunt something else. We will go home. समझ रहे हैं? So cause and effect have to be directly connected. India still believes, a large amount of India still believes in magical thought. So this takes many forms. समझ रहे हैं ना? So when we have hero worship in this country. Hero worship, hero worship is one of the signs of a very weak society. Because why do we have to depend on them? Politicians, oh, guru, okay. Why do you have to depend on them? Why can't you take care of yourself? So the last time we all checked, last time the Upanishads were created, they were very clear. This entire world has been created in an extremely decentralized manner. Any powers that are accessible, that are available to, say, Bhagavan Buddha, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, Vivekananda, same things are accessible or available to us. Put it to use. So what I want to tell you is Vedanta recognizes a particular type of thinking that is called rational thought, yukti. So yukti is actually, it has about 4 or 5 principles. Any thinking cannot be called yukti. So you get into trouble. What will that happen? Even if the Guru blesses you, you know what's going to happen? Idea will come into your mind how to escape. हमारे बच्चे बोलते रहते हैं, so हम प्रार्थना किए, क्या प्रार्थना किया तुम? हमारा मार्क्स अच्छा हो, तो तेरा भगवान क्या किया तेरे को? हम वेट कर रहे हैं. You know what? If you really pray and if your prayer is really answered by God, you know what God's answer will be? He'll say, study. That is simple. See, because what is the magic that you're thinking of? I don't know. So basically, magical thought. Magical thought is the bane of weak people. So rest of the people, normal people, men, India had a lot of these kinds of them because this was a line of thinking that was nurtured in this country. आप सोच के देखिए, this is a line of thought which originated here and we distributed it to all the other civilizations. There are records. Those of you who wish, you can read. Couple of books are there. There is a book called The Golden Road written by William Dalrymple. You should read that. क्या documentation है यार? अद्भुत documentation है. The entire Greek society was built by Indian thought. So that is what came down to Rome. Then they went into sleep. Then you had our Muslims. Muslims came in touch with us. समझ रहे ना? They took this from us. It is Islam which is actually behind industrial revolution. Ideas were all Muslim. Then there was again a flip over in the forces of the world. So the Christians again dominated over Muslims. Muslims were again removed back into the background. And today it is the Christians who apparently, and from them it has again come down to us. And you notice how a medieval country up to 1890, 1900, even up to 1920, all of a sudden we are able to take up science and technology this beautifully. Why is that? That is because this is in our DNA. Which one? This rational thought. So the principles of rational thought. One of the first principles is this: the cause is not different from the effect. The cause is hidden inside the effect. The effect is cause in a different form. So never entertain magical thought. Magical thought. Vivekananda goes to the extent of saying, so if anybody says, why does such a thing happen? It is the will of God. It is as good as telling, I don't know. Because you don't know the will of God. Since you don't know the will of God, you put that name. क्यों हो रहा है? ईश्वर का इच्छा है, भगवान का इच्छा है, अल्लाह का क्या है? वो रहम है ना? It's all as good as telling, be at least honest. I don't know why things are happening. This is rational thought. It empowers you. So, second principle. The second principle is, supposing there is a phenomenon and there are multiple explanations for that phenomenon, which explanation shall we choose? Which interpretation shall we choose? Say, for example, an apple fell from a tree. Apple fell from a tree. People ask, why does apple fall? Mangoes fall from a tree. Guavas fall from a tree. Why do these things fall? One of the explanations that can be successfully given, many societies have given this. There is a ghost which throws the apple down. Ghosts are there. They throw the apple down. Since it is a ghost, you will not see it. So you see that you have covered your explanation from every side. Now the problem with this is, why should we not accept this? We can accept this. Whereas what is the explanation we accept today? That there is something called gravitation. Why should we accept that? Because a British had told it, Newton. Not like that. Not like that. The reason why we accept this is, the explanation has to come from within the problem. So in order to explain a problem, you should not bring in something new. I bring in a ghost. So if you bring in a ghost and explain a phenomenon, then you raise further questions. You have actually created further questions. You wanted to answer one question, you created 10 new questions. Who is this ghost? Is it a male or a female? Or do they also have transgenders and stuff like that? Do they have territories like police people do? पुलिस लोगों का टेरिटरी होता है ना, ये हमारा पुलिस स्टेशन के अंदर में है और वो तुम्हारा पुलिस स्टेशन के अंदर में. So do ghosts have, so hundreds of such questions will come. Do they have working hours? Do they have a union? So is there something called ghost rights? So many questions will come up. What does this explanation do? This explanation explains it from within. Apple has mass. If it didn't have mass, it would not fall. Because that is the explanation I'm giving. So we don't know which is the right explanation. It may be ghost theory or maybe some other theory. We don't know. We don't know. But we accept that explanation which explains things from within. So this is the principle. This is a principle in rational thought. There's a name for this. It is called the principle of parsimony. 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 Principle of parsimony. So there was a Christian monk called Occam, Occam. So he actually coined this wording. Which one? If there are multiple explanations, the simplest one has to be accepted. What do you define? How do you define a simple explanation? An explanation which does not use more data than you gave in the problem. So he took it from the Muslims. So Moors. There was a type of Muslim called Moor in Europe. So Moors took it from India. Actually, not directly from India, they took it from the Buddhists. The Buddhists took it from India. Buddhists populated the entire Middle East once upon a time. Anyway, so this is history. So the second principle is that the third principle. The third principle is very interesting. It says, whatever you say must be verifiable. What do you mean by verifiable? Verifiable माने, so हम ब्राह्मण हैं, समझे ना? हम समझ सकते हैं, तू समझ नहीं सकेगा. This is a very interesting claim. This is one of the reasons why India deteriorated so much. India, any visitor, you don't need an invader. Invaders are people who come with horses, with armies, with weapons, and they say, I want to conquer this. Now, Babur came as a visitor. He came running away from somewhere. He started ruling this land. Because there is no backbone here. We spoiled everything with this kind of thought. What is it? I can understand, you can't. You are not fit. Okay, if I am not fit, then at least develop me then. Oh, hoga nahi. So, verifiability is a necessary principle of thinking. So, supposing I make a claim, I must be able to prove the claim or disprove the opposite. Falsifiability. There's another name for this. Verifiability or falsifiability. So when you make scientific study. So any study is not called a scientific study. A scientific study has got certain parameters. So there must be a peer group. There must be a peer review. There must be double-blind groups. So these kinds of things are principles have been developed. They all come from this one thing. What is that? Can you verify it? You remember a couple of years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, somebody claimed we have discovered fusion. We have created nuclear fusion inside a lab. Nuclear fusion inside a lab. And every now and then you will notice these kinds of news will come in your TV, media, or whatever. They say a new engine has been discovered which will run on water. Not verifiable. एक बार बोल सकते हो. And God knows what you did. Maybe your water was so polluted that it was 90% petrol and therefore the bloody engine ran. So the explanation, see, you will give the explanation. So now this is the third principle. The fourth principle is also very, very interesting. Fourth principle says all correlation is not causation. याद रखिए, this statement is a very, very interesting statement because these principles were developed by our ancient rishis in India. They split into two parts. Ancient India, our ancient ancestors, they split into two parts. One group of them entered into the internal life of man, self, one's own self. There is another group who entered into this world. All Indians were not into religion. Remember this. Ancient Indians. Ancient India माने आज जो बचा है वो तेरा religion ही बचा है और कुछ नहीं बचा हमारा past का, है ना? थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर पड़ा है. And हमारा history textbooks etc. Our historians, vested interest historians, they have now made a garbage of the entire thing. So essentially you have a blank 5,000 years Indians, है ना? थोड़ा बहुत history जो है इस्लाम आने के बाद. उसका पहले क्या था? थोड़ा नाम. But we survived as a civilization, we survived as a nation. We never had a blank. That is because we have not recorded and we don't have a sense of how to record things. But hey, your rational thought will tell you, because we survived, there must have been a continuity. मेमोरी नहीं है, सुषुप्ति का टाइप, समझ रहे हैं ना? तो सुषुप्ति का टाइप, बट yes, it was there. And maximum number of Indians, the maximum population in India, they adopted this line of thinking, rational thought, because rationality gives prosperity. याद रखो, rationality gives prosperity. If you find a nation rich, remember there is rational thought behind that. An irrational thought may come across money, but it will lose it. A fool and his money are quickly parted. Fool. Fool means a person who is irrational. So, all correlation is not causation. So, I had a friend when I was studying. I had a friend. This fellow was a peculiar guy. Exam coming, watch pen wristwatch. Even other days he would wear a wristwatch. It was a very good watch, decent watch था उसका पास. हम लोग वो जमाने के हैं, समझा ना? हम लोग रिस्ट वॉच पहनते थे. आप लोग तो भी रिस्ट वॉच ही नहीं पहनते. मोबाइल में ही सब मिलता है ना. तो रिस्ट वॉच था. लेकिन this fool, this peculiar guy, on the exam day he will wear a watch which doesn't have a dial, which doesn't. It's just it's a relic. हाँ. प्राय 100 साल पुराना वाला वॉच पहन के आता था. So I used to ask him, "तू क्या लड़का है यार? It is on the exam day that you really need your watch. Time करके करके exam लिखना ना हो. And on this day you wear this watch which doesn't show time. And on the other days you wear a decent watch. What is the problem?" He said, "This watch belongs to my grandfather. His grandfather was an engineer in those days." समझा ना? ब्रिटिश कामल में ही उसका grandfather as an engineer. उसका वॉच था ये. वो वॉच उसका पापा को दिया था, मैंने अपना बेटे को दिए थे. तो he became an engineer, a top class person, chief engineer को रिटायर किया हो. ये लड़का है उनका. तो this idiot thought if you wear the watch you will become an engineer. It doesn't happen like that. It may be a correlation. His grandfather was an engineer, he had this watch, but having the watch necessarily didn't make him an engineer. So, समझ रहे ना आप? This is a principle of thinking. All correlations are not causations. So we develop superstitions because you didn't learn how to think properly. Learn to think properly. So applying these principles of rational thought to the external world brings the external world under your control. अभी भी इंडिया में बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो बोलते हैं हमारा पूर्वज लोगों का पास इतना मंत्र शक्ति था, एक मंत्र बोलने से मंत्रमुग्ध बोलता है ना, मंत्रमुग्ध माने he was hypnotized. एक मंत्र बोलने से ही उसका तीर में शक्ति आता था. Maybe true, may not be true, I don't know. But I prefer to think, I prefer the explanation that our ancient people, they really thought logically, rationally, patiently. See, logical thinking or rational thinking is patient thinking. It doesn't come like that. So what comes quickly, what comes obvious, is more often than not irrational. So very patiently they studied this world, they learned about this world, they brought things under their control. Naturally that created wealth. We became prosperous. Every nation in the world wanted a connection with us. Today, which country wants to be associated with us? Because we are very beggars today. Why are we beggars? We are still one of the richest nations in the world. The amount of human resources or the natural resources that we have in this country, very few countries can boast of it. That is why, if given good situation, good environment, you see where our Indians are reaching. There is hardly any country which is not actually having an Indian at a very crucial place. We are good as a people, but we destroyed ourselves. What was the reason? Irrational thinking, haphazard thinking, magical thinking. What is required? Vedantic thinking. What is Vedantic thinking then? So Vedanta today is understood as concerning God, religion, self, consciousness, Brahman, Atman. No, that is only one outcome of that Vedantic thought. The other outcome of Vedantic thought is control over this world. That is rational thought. So rational thought is a thinking which follows certain principles. These principles are basically, they are the secret of the forces of this world. So mantra bolne se, that is actually what is meant. समझ रहे हैं ना? तज्जपस तदर्थ भावनम. So do you understand? So Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. What sort of japa is that? Hmm? So what does Om mean? What does Namaha mean? What does Shivaya mean? So this kind of thinking has to be, so every time you say that, the thinking has to come, the thought has to come. This has to be sustained. So in any field, you're all IIT children. So with you have sort of cracked a certain code. What is that? कैसा पढ़ने से मन में रहता है, or how to actually think about a particular problem. So you have already cracked it. Now you have to make it your own and put it into practice at various stages of life. है ना? I know many people who are from IITs. I know people who are from AIMS, top class institutes. जहाँ पे until today we don't have any scandal of uh, backdoor entry वगैरह कोई नहीं है. All are meritorious people. But I have seen them superstitious. So there is a particular person, I won't take his name. So उनका प्रत्येक बार when his college opens, a new session starts, he wants to call a Ramakrishna Mission Swamiji. Why? No, he told me this. स्वामी जी ने ऐसे कहा, स्वामी जी लोग आके जाने से ना तो हमारा ये साल अच्छा निकलेगा. What stupid ideas, man! This is the kind of thinking that put us down. We still continue. Now, this is a man, you see, don't tell me that he's not a rational person. A huge portion of him is rational. Otherwise, ये इतना degree वगैरह कहाँ से किया हो? He's running a college though. An irrational person cannot run a college. But we don't apply it everywhere. You should apply it everywhere. Then what happens is, then whatever is not necessary is just removed. So you should be like the Upanishadic people. The Upanishadic people. So this is a very peculiar Upanishad. See, Upanishads generally deal with inside world. What is Atman? What are the three states of consciousness? What exactly is consciousness? Where does it arise from? Is it self-evident, self-existent? Stuff like this. These are the questions which form their subject. But this particular mantra from the Ishopanishad, the very interesting mantra, it says there are two things that a man can pursue. One is the inner world and the external world. Let him pursue both. The end benefit is different. The end benefit is different. The end benefit is, if you know about this world, you'll get money, you'll get control over the forces and things. You can put it to practical use, make your living life comfortable. And you can think about, you can attend, you can give attention to your internal world. That will solve certain other problems. So एक बार क्या हुआ, एक सुनिए. I'll just tell you one story and end my history. This is the gist of what I wanted to tell you. So all solutions need not come from outside. That's the reason I'm telling you this story. So एक बार एक आदमी था. So he had a problem. So he had a problem. What is the problem he had? So he used to see demons in the night when he would sleep. So उसका जो बिस्तर था ना, बिस्तर का नीचे से demons आएगा, demons, and वो लोग इसको disturb करेंगे. So he went to a doctor. The doctor said, देखो, this is not my field. This is a psychologist, psychiatric field, mental case. तो mental patient के पास जाओ. वो mental patient समझ लिया, इसका क्या समस्या समझ लिया. तो बोला, देखो, actually it looks like yours is a psychiatric case, but yours is not a psychiatric case, it's a neurologist case. तो मेरा एक neurologist friend है, उसको बुला रहा हूँ, तो यहाँ पे बैठो. वो न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट फ्रेंड आया, ये साइकियाट्रिस्ट उसको बोला क्या क्या बोलना है. तो न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट देख के स्टडी करके बोलता है, देखो, ये बहुत रेयर केस है तुम्हारा. द प्रॉब्लम सीम्स टू बी समथिंग इज रॉन्ग इन वन पर्टिकुलर फाइन नर्व इनसाइड द ब्रेन, लेकिन उसको ऑपरेशन करके हम लोग रिपेयर कर सकते हैं. द ऑपरेशन इज गोइंग टू कॉस्ट यू अराउंड 75 lakhs. सो हम लोग तेरे को एस्टिमेट दे देंगे, तू तेरा इंश्योरेंस से बात करो, तेरा पैसा जुगाड़ करो और तू आ जा, हम लोग रिपेयर कर देंगे. एक दिन हुआ, 2 दिन हुआ, 3 दिन हुआ, ये बेटा आता ही नहीं है. तो साइकियाट्रिस्ट फोन किया, क्या हुआ तेरा, ऑपरेशन कब शेड्यूल करें. तो आदमी बोलता है, ना हमारा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गया डॉक्टर साहब. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ से सॉल्व हो गया तेरा? ना हम इन लोगों से फ्रेंडशिप कर लिया ना, अभी दे डोंट इरिटेट मी, दे डोंट थ्रेटन मी, दे डोंट फ्राइटन मी. समझ रहे ना? सो there is lot of benefit that happens if you go inside. If you study, the area of study becomes your internal world. So you see a lot of suicides and all those things. They're all utterly unnecessary. A person who completely neglects that internal world, person who completely neglects his internal world, there is something inside. हाँ, ये जो सामने में दिख रहा है ना, आप लोग जो हैं, आज का जो क्लास चल रहा है, हाँ, अभी हमारा कॉलेज बंद हुआ, 8 o'clock तक चलता है मेरा कॉलेज, अभी मेरा कॉलेज बंद हो रहा है, अभी जा रहे हैं, डम 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 साउंड हो रहा है, दर्जा बात क्लियर करने. All this is true, but as true as this world is, there is another world which is equally true. So I can control this outside, I can control my internal world. Both have benefits, tremendous benefits. Tremendous benefits. Both have to be controlled. How is the question? How to control this external world? Irrational thinking. You can. So for everything you can have an irrational thought. Astrologers, irrational thought, magical thought, astrologers cannot survive because it is a fear inside man. There is a fear inside man. He says, "हमारा बच्चे हो रहे हैं, हमारा बच्चा हुआ है, वो अच्छा रहेगा तो." अरे भाई तुम्हारा बच्चा अच्छा रहेगा कि nobody can tell man. Every day, every moment, you take care of your child till he becomes 15, 16 years old, till he becomes strong enough to stand on his own feet, think independently. तब तक तो protection देते रहो. Then उसके बाद it will depend on how he thinks. Now, you need a certainty in an uncertain world. So you go to magical thought. There is actually no such certainty. And a person who is really rational will be able to live with uncertainty. And when problems come, we'll face it. Because we know how to face problems. Nah? We know how to face problems. So this is the secret of Vedantic thought. So it has to be rational. Buddha was an example of Vedantic thought. Buddha was actually a Vedantic. Many of us think that Buddha was different. Oh, those are all historical issues. But the truth is, he was a Hindu, just as Jesus Christ was a Jew. So what came out became Christianity. Similarly, what came out became Buddhism. But Buddha was a rationalist. Our ancient Hindus were rationalists. That is why in the Upanishads there is no God. Very rarely you will find God. Ishopanishad of course talks of God. But many other Upanishads are there which don't talk of a God. Because they don't talk of creation at all. All they are bothered about is the internal thing. So the line of thought is rationality. Itna tak bola tha mere ko. If there are any questions, one question or two questions we'll have. Three.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you very much for the enlightening talk. I myself have a question. I'll be little bit selfish before I let the other people ask. You said some so the crux that I understood is that to become better decision makers, we have to think rationally, right? So the thing is that rational thinking requires information and correct information. So let's say I'm a child and my parents ask me to eat vegetables, and the only piece of information that I have is let's say I'm eating paneer, or I want to eat paneer, is that paneer has more protein than the vegetables, right? That's all the information that I have with myself. But then there is another piece of information that I don't have, is that these vegetables have, let's say, roughage or other vitamins, minerals, which are important for me. That is something that I don't know. So if I apply my own rational thought there, the information I know is that paneer has more protein, it's healthy for me, so I should eat that, right? So my rational thinking will lead to the wrong decision here. Whereas my parents thought, if I take that for me, then for me, I don't know whether that's rational or irrational, right? So how do I filter this out when I feel that I don't have the complete information about the situation? How do I filter out which is the rational thought? Yes.
So rational thinking is iterative. Rational thinking is not a one-off event. So iterative money, you keep on questioning whatever beliefs you have. And you go back to the line of thought. So if your parents say something, you can question it. So they have come to some conclusion. They are now pushing that conclusion onto you. So you can go back to the first principles, you can go back to the foundational facts, question them, find out whether that is right, So this entire exercise involves rational thought. समझ रहे ना? So rational thought is not something that you have come to one conclusion and end of story. ऐसा नहीं है वो. No matter what the conclusion is, no matter how sacrosanct the person who the source of information, you can question, you can go back. So this is iteration, iterative. Again, it's a question of refinement. So the Sanskrit word for this kind of thought is, जानते हो तुम?
No, I don't.
It's called distillation. Samskriti, samskrita, samskarana. Samskarana actually means distillation.
Acha.
It's all refined.
Oh.
You understand? Nothing is full and final. Everything is up to now. Yeah, this is where we stand.
Okay, got
Hey, there
it.
is
I have a follow-up, but
ask.
I'll ask you later. I'll open up. So the questions, if you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. Then I'll open it up. Till then, I'm sharing a screenshot of the QR codes that we have. You can join our WhatsApp groups and Instagram page for the informations for such sessions later on. So you can raise your hands. And you can just unmute yourself and ask also if that works.
Pranam Maharaj. Maharaj, that was a barrage of rational thinking and showing the heritage of reasoning in our civilization. And especially, like, I have always been an enthusiast on the Indian philosophy and other Indian knowledge system. So, like, things like the Nyaya Darshan also stresses much on this reasoning, and also the schools of Buddhism, mainly the Mahayana school, the later Buddhist schools, like Nagarjuna, great name, great logician amongst the entire civilization ever produced, and of course Shankara is also in our camp. But my here question is like with such high dosage of like reasoning, rationality, how do you deal then theism? Like theism is a very integral theism, the religious like theistic religion, the theism. So like of course we have a strong foundation on reason and rationality, but then along with that, how do you like incorporate this religion, this bhakti systems? So these things like they are paradoxical sometimes, seems they may seem, but like Shankaracharya, among the greatest logician who has like I can't like তা স্তুতি করলেও কম পড়বে, তো like Adi Shankaracharya, even being a very rationalistic, hardcore rationalistic, the most the our like the stutis and hymns, she has composed lots of hymns and stutis of different gods and goddesses. So how do you like deal with this? Like this seems two very opposite sides, one with rationality and reasoning, the the Himalayan heights of Vedanta and the Nyaya darshans, and then again we have these hymns and the beautiful hymns of the Panchadevata. So how do you deal with this?
There is nothing wrong if you have the irrational side to you. There is nothing wrong in that. Bhakti is a very grand thing. It's very, very beautiful. The problem arises when you start putting bhakti to use as a justification for what you do. So, take for example, there is a very interesting story in one of our Puranas. Very interesting story. So there was a gardener. He grew a garden, very beautiful garden. Very beautiful flowers came. So the Raja was etc. very happy. So he became very famous. And whenever people would come, he would say, "I did it. What beautiful flowers, man! Such wonderful roses, beautiful smell. I did it. I did it. Excellent. Be proud that you did it. If you have done it, be proud that you did it." Now, one day, what happened is a cow was eating. Stray cow, andar ghus gaya. It was eating the plants, it was eating the flowers. This fellow got so angry that he started beating the cow, and that very cow died. Mar gaya. Abhi, Guru Hatya Mahapaap hai. गुरु हत्या महापाप है. So उसका जो पाप है, it started following him. He wanted to catch him. मैंने give back his karma. He said, don't. हम कुछ नहीं किए. वो अच्छा कौन किया फिर? ये गोरु को कौन मारा है फिर? ये गाय को कौन मारा है? So he says, you see, this hand killed the cow. This hand killed the cow. And in Indian mythology or Indian theology, as you say, in Indian theology, the god who is in charge of the hand is called Indra. Indra Deva बोल के उसको बोलते हैं. So he says, तू मेरे को मत पकड़ो. किसको बोल रहा है ये? वो पाप कर्म को बोल रहा है, जो इसको आके अभी पकड़ लेगा. So karma comes visiting, na? So when the karma came, he said, don't come to me. I am not the one responsible. ये हाथ का देवता कौन है? इंद्रा. तो इंद्रा को पकड़ो तुम. वाह, अब क्या हुआ? ये पाप कर्म इंद्रा का पास गया. तो बोलते हैं अभी मेरे को पकड़ना है आपको. क्यों? ये आदमी बोला है, बहुत बढ़िया गार्डन किया है, and he has killed a cow in that garden which came to eat grass. And when I said that ये गुरु हत्या का पाप तेरा पास में आना पड़ेगा, then he said मेरा नहीं है, मेरा हाथ मारा था, ये वाला हाथ मारा था, और इसका अधिदेवता है, इंचार्ज गॉड है इंद्रा. इंद्रा was surprised. किस टाइप का थिंकिंग है भाई? So what he did is, he went in the guise of a normal man, वेश पलट लिया, जाके इसको बोला हो, अच्छा क्या गार्डन किया यार तू? अभी ऑफ सीजन है, ऑफ सीजन में रोज मिल रहा है तेरे. अरे आप क्या बोलेंगे, हम क्या क्या नहीं कर सकते, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. करते 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 डेड बॉडी का पास आया, गुरु का पास. डेड कौ मर गया. अरे रे यहाँ पे गुरु मर गया, कौन किया है? और ये हम नहीं किए ये. सो दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स इज डेंजरस. Bhakti has this one small problem. What is that? So we start employing God in our job. ईश्वर का काम क्या है? हमारा काम करवाना. तो एक दिन क्या हुआ, एक पिताजी बहुत काम करके, ऑफिस का काम करके घर आया. घर आके अंदर में घुसते ही देखा अपना छोटा लड़का जो स्कूल में जाता है, वो प्रार्थना रूम में बैठ के प्रार्थना कर रहा है घर में. इसको देख के पिताजी का दिल भर गया. आहा, he is अद्भुत. My son is praying to God. वो थोड़ा फ्रेश होके he came and he started listening to what he is praying. कौन सा मंत्र? अरे भाई, उसका प्रार्थना भयंकर था. वो बोल रहे ईश्वर को, हे प्रभु, इंडिया का कैपिटल बॉम्बे करवा दे, इंडिया का कैपिटल बॉम्बे करवा दे. पिताजी सरप्राइज होकर पूछते हैं, अरे साले क्या प्रेयर है तुम्हारा, इंडिया का कैपिटल बॉम्बे क्यों करवाना है? तो लड़का बोलता है, हम आज एग्जाम में लिख के आए हैं, लिख दिया है इंडिया का कैपिटल क्या है, साला बॉम्बे लिख दिया. And now he wants God to change the capital of India. Now this sort of bhakti is dangerous. This sort of bhakti is dangerous. So take responsibility on your shoulders. हमारा जीवन में जो अच्छा होता है उसका कारण क्या है? Because I took the right decisions and the world helped me. See, it is not just that I took the right decisions. It is not an arrogance of that. Let us be honest, man. Let us be impartial and unbiased observation करें. Things are happening well because I am taking the right decisions and the world is also assisting. When things go wrong, even if the world did not assist me, I could have taken a right decision. I did. Now we want to blame someone. So जैसा तेरा भक्तों का जो most of the bhaktas, of course, I cannot insult anyone. I don't want to insult anyone. इसीलिए वो पहला वाला प्रार्थना था, माँ विद्विषावहै, है ना? But devotion makes persons weak, or weak persons will try to manipulate devotion. So better to stand on one's own feet. Forget all other things. Take responsibility for what you are, what you will be. And then, when you are a satisfied person, if you have the guts, offer everything to God. ना, ईश्वर को देने का कुछ नहीं है, सिर्फ मांगने का है. That is something which is dangerous. So India, once upon a time, the Vedantic religion was agnostic. We didn't ask who created this world. Buddha doesn't ask who created this world. In fact, Buddha's answer to this world is, why can't it exist forever? So now, there is a time when the world began, there's a time when the world will end. Fine, then it is cyclic. Anyway, so we'll discuss that. One more thing, Shatabdi Basu has asked, Shatabdo Basu, verse 9 sounds puzzling.
Yes, Maharaj, that was my question.
One second, man, 1 second. Those who worship Vidya fall in great darkness. So, like I told you, man, so just because somebody translated it, this is a wrong translation. Even some Ramakrishna Mission books also translate like this because we follow something called tradition. This
Maharaj,
tradition,
this excuse me, Maharaj. Maharaj, this one I have taken from Gambhirananda Maharaj's
correct,
translation.
correct. I accept that, but I do not accept this translation. समझ रहे हैं ना?
This
So
one, Maharaj.
I know there is another book you should refer to called Message of the Upanishads. क्या नाम?
Message of the Upanishads.
हाँ, भाई स्वामी रंगनाथानंदा. वहां पे ये वाला मंत्र का ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ो तो.
Yes, Maharaj. I will.
और कंप्लीट वर्क्स ऑफ स्वामी विवेकानंदा वॉल्यूम 2 जहां पे एक लेक्चर है गॉड इन एवरीथिंग. कैन यू रिमेंबर दिस थिंग्स?
Yes,
Follow
Maharaj.
it as a follow
Yes,
study. So वहां पे विवेकानंद translated this Upanishad, Ishopanishad. So Ishopanishad का translation है God in everything because ईशावास्यम इदं सर्वम यत् किंच जगत्याम जगत तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जी. So ईशावास्यम इदं सर्वम, let God be pervading everything. That is the translation.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
वो लेक्चर का नाम ही है God in everything. वहां पे स्वामी जी doesn't talk like this. So he says there is a faculty of observation which man can give to the external world or to the internal world. If he gives it to the external world, there is prosperity. You go beyond misery. Whereas, see, you will never become rich by meditating. समझ रहे हैं?
Yes,
You
Maharaj.
want to be rich, work, man. 24 hours जो आजकल जो चल रहा है ना समस्या, तेरा नारायण मूर्ति ने क्या बोला कि इतना घंटा काम करना है और तेरा LNT का MD बोला SNS 40. So work hard, you'll get money. You want to know who you are, जितना भी काम करो ना, तू प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो जाओ ना, you will never know who you are. In order to know who you are, the attention has to be drawn within. So which one should I do? Both have to be followed. This was the Upanishadic conception. About 1,000 years ago, we changed our thinking. We said, nah, कितना भी करो ना, ये जगत नश्वर है, ये दुनिया 3 काल पे नहीं है. अरे तो मरो फिर. आज देखो कैसा हो रहा है. Anybody can come and occupy your country and say this is mine. तुम लोग मेरा प्रजा है. That is it. ठीक है. Let us end here. We'll have another
Thank you,
session.
Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
I had told up 3 months. हम वो प्रोफेसर मैथिली जी को भी बताना चाहते हैं. I keep coming to Bombay. Sometime when I come to Bombay, I'll come and visit. If the time permits. If you are
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Sure,
we can
Maharaj.
have- we can
We'll
have
be
a
very
face-to-face
happy to
interaction.
host you here. And I think you can give an in-person talk. I think
Yes, I can.
students will really enjoy it.
Somehow this lacks some sort of a connection. You understand?
Definitely. I think whenever you are in Bombay, please
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
get in touch with us and we'll be happy to host you.
Shall I take your permission?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Swamiji. This was very, very useful. Athri, do you want to
Yes.
say anything?
Yes, ma'am. So thank you very much, Swami, for the talk, and I hope the people enjoyed and understood as much as I did. It was really enlightening. So we keep on doing these kind of talks. If you want to stay updated and you want to keep on getting such talks, so you can scan these 2 QR codes. One is for our WhatsApp group, the other is for an Instagram, so that you get the updates. We won't disturb you unnecessarily, of course, regarding these sessions. And that was all for today, for this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swami, once again for joining us and enlightening us.
Thank you very much, Swamiji, for your talk.
Thank you, Swami.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.